So why is this happening? Why are so many kids thinking like Billy or Amy, and especially like Daisy? Kids who have had a good grounding in phonics but do not or cannot transfer that knowledge to how they read. There are two main reasons. Firstly, identifying the sounds in words is one thing. Putting them together is quite another. When kids sound out words to spell phonetically, they need only listen to the sounds one at a time and write them down, as Amy has done here and Daisy has done here. But to read them, they must hold a cluster of sounds in their head and then blend them. So reading words carries a processing load that spelling does not. I see many kids who can phonetically spell words they cannot read. Blending the sounds in longer words requires chunking and strategy, skills that many kids have yet to develop. Some kids struggle with blending the sounds in the simplest three-letter words like run and dog. They need to be specifically taught how to do this, and this does not often happen. It is not enough for some kids to say and then run your finger under it. Too many kids simply cannot do this or do not know how to. Sound it out makes no sense to many, many children. So there are kids, and lots of them, for whom teaching phonics is just the beginning of the process. This blending is a particular difficulty for the truly dyslexic kids, but the appropriate strategies are teachable. The second reason is the reading material we give beginner and struggling readers. The child has been taught that A makes the A sound like apple. We focus on it at the start of the word, and then we give them readers that are littered with words like these, all of them with an A, but none of them making the A sound. We start them with words like these, common words, but many are also very old words, like this one, this one, this one, and this one, whose pronunciation has changed over the centuries, so they are among the most difficult in the whole language to relate to the way the word is pronounced. Most of these words here are on the list of the first 100 words kids should learn. The letter A occurs 95 times in the list of the first 300 words, and it makes the A sound here in green in just 17 of them. 78 of those A's, these red ones, make or are a part of something else. There are 25 words on the list that start with A, and just 6 of them make A. For the child, the A for apple message simply does not apply to reading. Now, kids who instinctively look for patterns of sounds will in time work their way through this maze and figure it all out. But why are we making it so difficult and impossible for Billy and Amy and Daisy? By making the links so difficult to find, we are actively encouraging them to abandon their phonics knowledge, actively encouraging them to think of words as simple pictures like these, actively encouraging children to adapt the visual processing part of the brain rather than the speech and language areas that good readers use, in effect tipping them towards reading failure. We need to consider whether the aim is to teach kids to recognise the most common words by sight and store them as visual shapes like this, or whether we are training them to build structures and pathways in those parts of the brain that enable them to read and spell all words as competent students do, recognising the link to speech in the written form of the word. Would it not make so much more sense to give them reading practice where A almost always does make A, and E makes E, and I makes I, and O makes O, and U makes A. So that they can make a direct link between their developing phonics knowledge and how to read. Books where the processing load is limited to short, simple words until the child has developed the skills to deal with longer ones. Such books do exist. They are called decodables, and there are now plenty available for beginner readers, as well as ones like these for older kids like Amy and Daisy, who need to learn to think differently.